I came across this story that was very interesting to me. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I have some ideas, but there does seem to be a trend, and it's not just something that is unique to even the West, of this political divide. And yes, it's always been there, but it's growing, and it's growing by an alarming rate between the only two genders, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Now, you can go read the entire article on Financial Times where they go through some of this data, the methodology, all of that. I do believe some of it is behind a paywall. But this is what they're seeing is this widening gap between men and women politically, and they break it up. Yes, I know. I'm a libertarian, so I already know that this it doesn't necessarily represent all sorts of political philosophies that everybody has. But I can tell you this, looking at where they're at, definitely in the form of government, they're going to consider you, if you're not a leftist, in this conservative aisle anyway. But look at this real quick. You see the U.S., and I mean, since around 2010, it has gone up astronomically for women in terms of being more liberal, more leftist. Germany has a similar case, very, very similar in that they're trending upward. And the same thing can be said, though they're both leftists for the most part. You know, leftism is, I guess, it's a spectrum depending on where you're at. Because you can go to certain spots in Europe and their conservative parties, let's say, as an example, are like way left. Now, UK, though, it's trending up as well. South Korea, I don't know what the hell's going on there because the men since 2015 have they've trended the complete opposite way. So I'm not going to pretend like I know the ins and outs of what's going on in South Korea, but something's going down for them to act like that. And look, the interesting thing about this conversation is that people are going to have their guesses about why that is to be the case. You'll get some people that will blame individual parties. Well, you don't do outreach to this person and that person, and that's why they tend to trend. I've never really liked those arguments. Not to say that there isn't some level of influence or some truth to it, as far as, yes, culturally, and it's less politically and more culturally, that folks can do a better job, of finding that common ground to influence people positively to trend towards, let's say, something that is more conducive to liberty, right? I've been making this point for the better part of, over a decade now. And, I've always talked about culture. That's your ticket to try to influence people. The left knows this way better than the other side tends to understand. So, but the reason why I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute, is because I shouldn't have to convince someone, and that's just the nature of it, right? I get it, to value liberty, right? And, what the outcome is the outcome. So now you got to have a conversation about how to fix it, right? Because this is a serious thing, right? And like you're talking about, entire elections are being determined by this, right? If you go look at definitely the close ones, right, you're going to immediately look like, oh, well, they got so much of this vote and it's often women. And what that means as far as the general relationship between men and women in this country, I do know that a lot of people need to seek God, find God, and that may help them a lot. But something's wrong. Okay, I think everybody kind of understands that the route that we've been going culturally, especially the relationship between men and women, has not been going in a positive direction. Now, again, for better or worse, who's to blame? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Those are conversations that maybe we save for an entire stream because we can sit up here and discuss this. But this is significant. It trending this way is significant because the larger this gets, the more conflict there's going to be. Bottom line.